and camaraderie that comes with heat treating, it seems like. And the companies that I work for have always put education first. They really want to teach their people. And if I had to list things, I would say the educational opportunities were the top. And then, it was the people and the work, honestly, as a younger person, 19, 20 years old when I started. I was racking loads to go into furnaces and things like that. And it was almost like getting paid to work out, a gym membership. So that really sparked my interest as a younger man, for sure.
Greg Sheldon here, your host of Metal, Steel, Manufacturing, and Business Pro podcast, where you learn everything about the metals and manufacturing industry that make your modern day life possible.
Okay, so today we're here with Joe McBride from On Time Labs, and we've been talking for 10 minutes or so, maybe more. And Joe's story, similar to mine, came through from the floor up, and he really recognized there was a need for timing, and we were discussing how that doesn't happen today. So it's a great, I would call it a market dominating position. You could call it many things, but they just recognize that it's something that's needed, and it's more about time than it is about money. So welcome, Joe. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So we've been talking for a while, but I know you gave me your story, but would you be willing to share your story again so that we could all learn a bit more, and then I'll ask some more questions from there.
My name's Joe McBride. I'm the general manager of On Time Labs. We are a material testing company in Troutdale, Oregon. I've been in the metals industry for about 18 years now. I started as a novice, working the floor in a heat treating shop locally here in Oregon, and I fell in love with the industry. I fell in love with heat treating and the ability to continually learn new things. So I was a heat treater for about 10 years, and I was recruited by another heat treating company to help come and install and run their quality program. I took that opportunity about 7 years ago. And in the course of running that quality program, I recognized a need for material testing, and how it just didn't seem fast enough, or that it seemed prone to errors, samples getting lost in the mail, and those types of things. And I approached the owner of the company at the time, and we discussed that need, and he decided to back that venture. And we started as an internal division under the name of Oregon Metallurgy, and off after about a year and so, and started taking on external customers, and On Time Labs was born.
Awesome.
In the process of realizing the need for it, we realized there was a core set of tests for heat treaters that constantly plagued them from having to ship product. And so that's originally how we started our foundation. Is we're going to start with what we know, which was just metallography and micro hardness testing, really. And we've experienced testing and alpha case analysis and all types of other things based on our customers' demand. Wild ride. Been great.
Cool, man. Well, that's awesome. And it's just, I love that you recognize the need for that, and and then provided it. Because sometimes a lot of stories don't start that way. It's like, I think I can do this better than my boss, but you did it a little differently, and you saw the demand for something that it was almost like, there's this thing missing in my marketplace. I'm going to make something to solve that problem. And that is how business is supposed to go. So that's good. So how's that been? Well, let me actually go back. So your heat treating experience, what did you like about that so much? Was it the people in the industry? Because that's one of my favorite parts. I'm wondering, what was it about the heat treating that you liked?
Well, it was the variety of people, just the class of people and camaraderie that comes with heat treating, it seems like. And the companies that I work for
Hmm.
have always put education first. They really want to teach their people. And if I had to list things, I would say the educational opportunities were the top. And then, it was the people and the work, honestly, as a younger person, 19, 20 years old when I started. Um, I was racking loads to go into furnaces and things like that, and it was almost like getting paid to work out. It's the same with a gym membership. So that really sparked my interest as a younger man for sure.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So what was the heat treating for? What was the product you were putting in the
Oh,
oven?
it was varied, a bunch of different product, anything from aerospace product to little tiny gears for power tools
Okay.
and everything in between.
Interesting. So were you de-stressing them or were they being hardened or what was the
Hardened through hardened, carburized, case hardened. There was nitriding, vacuum hardening is, yeah, aluminum processing. Again, it was pretty wide and varied. So yeah, hardening, annealing, normalizing,
awesome, man. Awesome. Cool.
the whole gambit. So
There you go. So so those are a lot of things you do now, right? So if we could run through, what are kind of some of the services you guys do, other than being on time, of course. So what is it, within On Time Labs that you guys do?
well, so On Time Labs doesn't actually perform any heat treating. We actually receive samples from heat treaters and other customers and companies that just need verification that their sample meets certain specifications. So, for instance, in our metallurgy lab, a customer says, "Hey, this has been heat treated, 40 to 45 HRC, and it needs to be tempered martensite on its microstructure. Can you verify that for me?" And so that's what we do. We get paid to cut it up, etch it, mount it, put it under a microscope, look at it with a highly skilled metallurgical eye and say that is tempered martensite and its hardness is, 43.2 Rockwell. It meets your spec.
There you go. So how close do you have to be on the hardness on the Rockwell? Can you be over but not under, or how does that work roughly?
Well, it all depends on the customer's specification.
Okay.
If the customer calls it out, or if it's a governing specification by ASTM,
Okay.
typically a customer will tell us what it needs to be.
Okay.
And there's tight tolerances, 40 to 42, 40 to 41. And those are Rockwell hardnesses. We do micro hardness testing, which is actually a lot more of what we do, which could be, a 420 hardness nuke, it's very, very minuscule indentation,
Hmm.
but it's plotted out, kind of in a straight line. And then it tells us where that material achieves, 50 Rockwell equivalent. And that would be typically, where that's the qualifying hardness for the outer core of that material,
Okay.
along with its microstructure.
Okay. All right. So some of the pain points of your clients, just because you came through it, right? And you saw that there was, I want to talk about the on time stuff because I just think it's great. Um, and what happens for somebody to come to you? Like, is it an emergency situation or is it they need a couple days to turn things around, or how does all that work?
Well, there's been instances where there's what's called failures in the field. For instance, like an oil field, in Texas, one of their machines may break down and they need to get a replacement gear in there as fast as they can. Well, the replacement gear that they're putting in there needs to be qualified that it's going to stand up to the load. And so they'll send in a section of that gear and say, we need to qualify that its case hardness is, 70 thousandths deep minimum to a 50 Rockwell. and that it has tempered martensite, for instance, in its case hardening, heat treat affected area. And by tomorrow, because we're losing $10,000 a day every day this machine's down. So that's really okay. We can get it to you in 24 hours, and you can get your gear back in that oil well as quickly as possible with the highest level of confidence.
Right on, man. That's cool. So what kind of area are you guys serving? Are you serving West Coast, the whole US, or in
Right
Portland?
now, we are regionally West Coast from Washington down into Texas, Idaho, and a little bit of Utah. And we are expanding basically every day,
Right
more
on.
further east.
Cool, man. Cool. So are there licenses that are required for what you do?
There's
No.
accreditations. We are A2LA 17.5 accredited.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, that means that we have a management system and place to make sure that what we're doing and what we're reporting are accurate and that they are third party evaluated to be completely unbiased and that we're living up to the standard.
Okay. Okay, good. Good, good. Do you have to have an engineer in house?
We do have an on staff highly degreed metallurgist. Yeah.
Okay, good. Good, good, good. All right. So what kind of clients do you have? Oil and gas, and clearly,
We
but
do have oil and gas. From what we understand, a couple of our clients send in some automotive product to be tested. Oil and gas. We do a lot of foundry work because a lot of times when a foundry, pours a cast and things like that, they have to have it qualified for the heat lot and things like that. So we get a lot of foundry work, oil and gas, some automotive that's second tier, and then we just have oddballs every now and then where there's just a customer that says, well, we just need to get this tested. Don't necessarily qualify them in an industry because they may be a one-off customer. But it's still, every job's important. That customer needs their job tested. So that's what we do for them.
yeah, man. Well, of course, you're not going to turn them away. You're not going to say go away. I don't want. Curious, what's your not overly long-term plan, but like where are you looking to expand to, not geographically, but more so what's your client base? Like what are you looking to do? And maybe some further things in your business down the road.
Well, we are looking at bringing some more capability in-house or expanding on our current capabilities in our Met Lab right now. And as far as clientele and things like that, we are currently evaluating NADCAP accreditation, which would allow us to test aerospace product for the OEM primes and things like that if needed.
Mm-hmm.
Market for us. A lot of our industry friends, a lot of the people that are in our industry do those aerospace products and things like that. And we don't necessarily want to move into their space. We just want to be able to offer that to our clientele as well.
Interesting. You ever find that, because I've dealt with some Fortune 100 clients before, and some are easier to work with than others. I'm just wondering the bureaucracy of it all. Like when a push comes to shove and you got to deliver, like are they easy to deal with because they need this thing done on time? Or because I found some places are difficult when it comes to um steering a ship, the big ship that it is, just to get things done. Do you find that at all?
We have not ran across that yet, which is surprising actually. But we do work with some big fish, but we have our quoting in place to basically allow us a little bit of that gray room. We like to schedule our work when we receive the work in. We like to schedule it on a certain time frame that is below what we quote our customer. turn time. That helps keep us within the box, if you will. And we alert the customer right away if we don't think we're going to hit our internal due date, which customers seem to very much appreciate because, well, they're not expecting it for another 2 days. But
That's
hey,
awesome.
we were aiming for this day. We're actually going to be another responsiveness more than anything else, and being informed of the things that are happening.
Yeah.
So steering the big ship and the big clientels, we haven't really had a dissatisfied customer yet. Fingers crossed.
Good. Yeah, exactly, man. Well, it sounds like if you just keep doing what you're doing, you'll be all right. But I love the under promise, over deliver mindset. That's awesome. That's good. We need more of that. But since there's not a lot of it, it's good for you. Cool, man. So where do people find you?
You can find us almost everywhere. We're online. We have our website, ontimelabs.com. We are pretty active on LinkedIn. Our LinkedIn page is pretty active. It posts quite a few different things, as well as my own personal LinkedIn. It's got a lot of our On-Time Labs information on there as well. We have a Facebook page. Right here in Troutdale, Oregon. Signs are all over the place. We've advertised directly to quite a few of our customers. Sometimes we'll just send them a water bottle. We'll email, just to say, hey, it's been a while since we've talked. Want to touch base, make sure everything's okay. So find us pretty much anywhere.
Right on, man. Right on. One last question. I'm curious what your thoughts are. Like, maybe it's a few questions. The demographic within, just by age, in your company. Like, are there any younger people? Is it mainly around your age?
So I am 39, almost 40.
Yeah, me too.
Our operations specialist is younger than me, and she's very passionate about our industry. Uh, our metallurgist is obviously more experienced than me, is I guess the best way we'll put that. Highly degreed and highly intelligent. He's way more intelligent than I wish I could ever be when it comes to those types of things. The A student, I'm the C student, but
Yeah, me too.
so yeah, I would say our demographic of employees are pretty varied. But every individual in our organization is passionate about what we do, which I think is what brings everybody together.
Cool, man. That's awesome. So how do you think you can attract more passionate people? Because on this podcast, we're always looking for ways to get new people from a younger generation or our generation in this industry. Is there
I,
something you can add?
well, I think for people of our generation, it's kind of the basic, staples of what we're used to, right? We want steady employment, we want good benefits, a little bit of paid time off, those types of things are in our minds prerequisite, right? That's what makes a good career. But I think in younger generations, it really does depend, and things like flex scheduling, which is hard in our industry to do, but things like flex scheduling, paid time off, it really depends on the individuals and the demographic base. But I think there's certain room to be able to tailor to those certain things. And I think if you can provide those things within a box, I mean, no company wants to be taken advantage of. And
Of
I don't
course.
think necessarily that any employee wants to take advantage of a company either. But
Yeah,
if you can put fence posts on it and allow that certain freedom, I think younger employees appreciate those benefits, and that attracts them to your company because I think it's more about culture and value these days than it is about a paycheck or a long-term career, if that makes sense,
that
right?
makes perfect sense. Yeah. Yeah.
On-Time Labs tries to leverage those types of things to get or if you need flex scheduling, let's work with you on that as far as setting what those hours may look like and long as we ensure that it doesn't impact our production schedule, which we can schedule with, then totally work with employees on that. And we do. And our employees tend to like that a lot.
Good, man. Cool. All right, Joe. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Greg Sheldon here, your host of Metal, Steel, Manufacturing, and Business Pro podcast, where you learn everything about the metals and manufacturing industry that make your modern day life possible.